Question we get asked all the time, do I need all 88 keys to learn to play the piano? Stick around, we're going to talk about it. Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center in downtown San Antonio, Texas. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like our videos, subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, leave comments and questions. We really enjoy the interaction and responding to it. We have recently made a couple of videos that were viewers' requests, and it felt good to get those out. And before we get into today's topic, I was searching for some piano facts, and I came up with a couple of firsts that I was not really aware of. And I guess one of them is that there were actually at one time over 9,000 brands of pianos available on the market in the United States of America. And I don't think we've ever had that many of anything manufactured, even shampoo, let alone telephones or more common used items. But the piano fact for today is that the first meaningful recognized use of brand names was on pianos. Before that, there wasn't anything that was used commonly that everyone had in common, that they would share certain brand information. So the first recognized meaningful brand names were pianos. The other thing too is that it is also, not just here in the United States, but in parts of Europe, it was also the very first status symbol. Maybe the secondary if you had one of those extremely expensive coach carriages before the automobiles. The other item that makes the piano kind of a very interesting first, it is the first major item for the household that was sold on installment time payment plans. So that tells you how much the world has changed in terms of brands, in terms of marketing, and in terms of financing, as well as status symbols and everything else. So people are always asking, do you really need all 88 keys to learn how to play the piano? The short answer is no. The long-term answer is yes, you do. If you want to play the piano, an actual piano with an actual piano piece of literature, whether it's classical or not, you're probably going to need at least 6, maybe 7. If you need 7 1/4 octaves, that's all 88 keys. There are other pianos. This is 3 octave, this is 5 octaves, and this is the 7 1/4 inch, 7.25 scale octave is full 88 key piano. There's a couple of things to always bear in mind, and not all of these will be in place at the same time, but what really goes on in the brain of someone that's sitting there playing the piano, what is going through your head, and why does 88 keys make a difference? Well, first off, the true answer comes down to ergonomics, and I mention this a lot in a lot of my videos, and I cannot stress this enough because to this day we still have product being returned or exchanged or re-explained to the customer that you just can't take a keyboard and set it on your lap and learn how to play piano. You have to have a certain amount of height that you're sitting at, and the keyboard needs to be at a certain height, and all these are measured. But the most important thing for learning is that it's always consistent. It always is the same. That's why pianos were like pieces of furniture, so that you read your music either here or here and you looked. Peripheral vision is very important at any age when you're playing the piano. At a young age, it's very important. So at first, it's real intimidating to a small child sitting there, and as they grow up, that platform never changes in size, but their view of their perspective from a peripheral vision, from looking here but seeing what's going on against the black and white keyboard, is very important for taking down literature. And I'm not saying that everyone that wants to play the piano or learn how to play the piano is going to want to give 100% of their life dedicated to it, to trying to coordinate their eyes, their ears, both hands, because right there alone you have your eyes are looking at 2 different scales, 2 different clefs to take down the music. And then your ears are always listening to make adjustments for what you deem may be a mistake. Piano players don't always recognize timing as a mistake, because while you're thinking, well, the beat isn't really going on, you're thinking. It's a difficult thing. Piano players have to practice a lot before they can get in the right rhythm and in the right timing. And sometimes that practice isn't done away from the group. So if you're going to play with other people, make sure that at least you're there. The other thing too is that you have 2 hands And the piano is one of the rarest instruments, and that involves all 10 fingers. And not too many instruments involve all 10 fingers or both hands for that matter. So if you're taking in, your eyes are taken in two clefs, you're thinking about where your fingers need to be. There's a lot of looking between the music and the here and there. All 88 keys comes in to represent the music that you may be coming up that requires use of that space or that real estate on the keyboard. Now, to begin with, if you're any age and you want to learn, you can start learning with just one hand or both hands on a smaller size keyboard. Just if it's real important for you to learn the data of the language, which is how to read and write music without the ability to play it. That's a very different thing than playing an instrument. Some people are excellent at reading, writing, transcribing, taking in music. Even if they can't play an instrument, they may be moderately good at something, but they can sit and transcribe just like an orchestrator. It's really amazing the different levels of music talent that develop. Most of them require all 88 keys on a piano. But to begin with or to learn, the quick answer is you do not need 88 keys to learn how to play the piano. If you want to play the piano, you will be playing a piano that has 88 keys, so you might as well practice and learn on one of those. The earlier you can get started, the better off you're going to be down the line. Unless if you're not that dedicated to it. And I've known a lot of quote unquote piano players that never wanted to play the piano. In the 70s, there was one thing you wanted to be: a guitar player. If you couldn't be that and you were a piano player, well, then you were a keyboard guy in a rock band. And that was the day to be a keyboard player, because you could have a stack just like this where every keyboard made its own sound and hardly any of them had 88 keys. There were 3-octave, there were 4-octave, 61-note keys. There were synthesizers, string machines. Fender Rhodes made a 54-note. They also made a little bass unit. Wurlitzer made a short unit. Everyone had portable units primarily to play in combo groups, ensembles, whatever you want to call them. The other thing that I think is real important is the ability to, while all of this is going on, the eyes, the ears, the coordination, the 10 fingers, the 2 hands, independent rhythms in both hands, let alone the fingers. There's also the spatial concept of that as you're learning, and when you do learn, you know where every note is on the piano, including the first one and the bottom one and the top one and those in between. There's some spatiality that you get from peripheral vision, and that comes with practice. If you only practice on a 5-octave keyboard, it's going to be a little bit confusing where the middle is on an 88 key until you get your sound situated. The other problem, and this is a pretty big complaint. I don't always recognize this because I'm not one of those people that even though I grew up in a household where we all played piano, we didn't all really cluster around the piano and play duets. So a lot of people, when they learn, if they have brothers and sisters, there's a lot of people that play duets where someone plays the bottom, the lower rhythm and the baritone bass section, and someone else is playing the treble in the high end. There's a lot of compositions that are made for that. It really does accelerate student learning, and because you have the two people working together and get people to play together, and it brings everything of music. And what music does with people is togetherness, and then it makes learning so much easier to remember and feel like it's a lot more fun than it is educational. So duets is something that's real important and very hard to do on a smaller size keyboard, especially a 61 note. Everyone has to trim down their parts. So yeah, there's advantages and disadvantages, but if you really want to play the piano, get a piano and start practicing on it. If that's not possible and you just want to learn how to play the bass or read bass notes and be able to play bass, because I'm a trombone guy, I just want to be able to take in the bass clef, and because I play bass too. Everyone has their own different thing, but you do not need 88 keys to learn how to play the piano. You're going to have a hard time finding a piano to play that doesn't have 88 keys. There'll be digital pianos. They may not have weighted actual piano action keys. There may be synthesizers. There could be spring-loaded keyboards. But for the most part, almost every piano that's manufactured now has 88 keys. There are pianos that are made that do not have all 88 keys. Some of them are concept pianos. Some of them are different use pianos. There is something referred to as an opera piano, which only has like a 6-octave keyboard, and that's basically the range of where the human voice is, the extreme bottom and top notes are not really there. We had one of those here. It was built in a harpsichord case, and it was really a unique instrument. There's a few of those around. There's also some 85 key, but for the most part, it's going to be about a 7-octave instrument, and that's what most of the literature is written for. And do you need 88 keys to learn how to play the piano? No, but to play a piano, it's probably going to have 88 keys, which means it's going to probably be a real acoustic or a higher end digital piano that has that kind of action. If you have any questions or comments, if I'm missing anything about the concept of 88 keys, when is a good point to move up? Key sizes, that is a whole other topic. I've discussed that because on certain piano brands, on a few videos back, I've mentioned that you can reach an octave plus 1 key. And if the keys are of different nature, you can usually reach a 10th without too much problem if you can normally reach an octave. Those kind of things, width and depth and height of keys, that is a different spatiality to a keyboard, and over the years there's been more and more standardization with the international key length. But I think that we're coming to a point in a day and age in manufacturing where there's a lot of instruments to be sold with people that don't have Rachmaninoff size hands. And with that, I will wait to see your questions and your comments on this video, and thank you very much for watching and listening, and we'll look for you in the future.